Hello student, myself Kuhu Sarkar. Today I am going to continue my series which named Let's Crack Gate 2023, where I am going to give you a deep analysis of each and every questions of Gate 2022. Before starting this video, if you did not watch my previous video, please watch it. So let's proceed. So our first question for today, question number 32, lyrical ballads considered to be the manifesto of romantic poetry was first published in the year. Our answer will be D, 1798. So let's see the explanation. Lyrical ballad with a few other poems is a collection of poems by William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge, published in 1798, generally considered to have marked the beginning of the English Romantic movement. So it is considered to be the beginning of English Romantic movement in literature. The immediate effect on critics was modest, but it became and remains a landmark, changing the course of English literature and poetry. Most of the poems in the 1798 edition were written by Wordsworth, with Coleridge contributing only 4 poems to the collection, although this made about a third book in length, including one of his most famous work, The Rime of Ancient Mariner. So here we see that lyrical ballad published in 1798. Wordsworth and Coleridge set out of overturn what they considered the precise, learned and highly sculpted form of 18th century English poetry, and to make poetry accessible to the average person via verse written in common. So we see that Wordsworth and Coleridge try to overturn the precise, learned and highly sculptured form of 18th century English poetry. They want to do something new. So what they do, they make poetry accessible to the average person via verse written in common everyday language. They want to write in simple language and in everyday language. These two major poets emphasis These two major poets emphasize the vitality of the living voice used by the poor to express their reality. This language also helps assert the universality of human emotions. So this language also helps to assert the universality of human emotions. Even the title of the collection recalls rustic forms of art. The word lyrical links the poems with ancient rustic birds and lend an air of spontaneity, while ballads are an oral mode of storytelling used by the common people. So, lyric links the poem with ancient rustic birds and lends and spontaneity. So, it's a spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions, right? So let's see our next question number 33. Identify the work from which the following excerpt has been taken. In a universe that is suddenly deprived of illusion and of light, man stranger, he is irremediable exile. The divorce between man and his actor and his setting truly constitutes the feeling of absurdity. So the options are Franz Kafka's The Trial, Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot, Albert Camus' Myth of Sisyphus, and Harold Pinter, The Homecoming. As we know that all these examples are the examples of absurd drama or absurd work. So our answer is Albert Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus, which was an philosophical essay. So let's see about the right work. The Myth of Sisyphus, written by Albert Camus. The Myth of Sisyphus is a 1942 philosophical essay by Albert Camus. The myth of Ear or and Friedrich Nietzsche, Camus introduced his philosophy of the absurd. So here he introduces his philosophy of absurd. The absurd lies in the juxtaposition between the fundamental human needs to attribute meaning to life and unreasonable silence of the universe in response. Camus claims that Camus claims that the realization of the absurd does not justify suicide, instead requires revolt. So in this essay, Camus tried to justify that Camus claims that the realization of the absurd does not justify suicide, instead requires revolt. He then outlines several approaches to the absurd life. In the final chapter, Camus compares the absurdity of man's life with the situation of Sisyphus. So here he compared the myths of Sisyphus. So here he compares the absurdity of man's regular life with the situation of Sisyphus, the story of Sisyphus, a Greek figure of mythology who was condemned to repeat forever, and the same meaningless task of pushing a boulder up a mountain only to see it roll down again. So here we see the image where Sisyphus trying to roll up the stone, but every time he doing some meaningless job. And Albert Camus compare our daily life with the uh, myth of Sisyphus, with the job of Sisyphus. So here he condemned to repeat forever the same meaningless task of pushing a boulder up a mountain and only to see it roll down again and again. The essay concludes the struggle life is enough to fill man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. So the work can be seen in relation to the absurdist works by Camus, the novel Stranger or the Outsider, the play Misunderstanding, Caligula, and especially the essay Rebel. So here also he used the same philosophy of absurd. So let's see our next question. Our next question, question number 34. What does gynocriticism recommend as an approach to literature? So the gynocriticism, which was the term was coined by Ellen Walter. So here, what does gynocriticism recommend as an approach to literature? And our answer will be option number C, becoming more familiar with the history of women and women's writing. So let's see the explanation. Gynocriticism. Gynocriticism or gynocritics is the term coined by 1770s by Ellen Sowater to describe a new literary project intended to construct a female framework for the analysis of women literature. So what is gynocriticism? Gynocriticism or gynocritics is the term coined by in the 70s by Ellen Sowater to describe a new literary project intended to construct a female framework for the analysis of women's literature by expanding the historical study of women's writers as a distinct literary tradition. Gynocritics sought to develop new models based on the study of female experience to replace male models of literary creation. So, map the territory left unexplored in the earlier literary criticism. So what Ellen Sowalter do? Ellen Sowalter try to distinct literary tradition and develop a new model based on the study of female experience to replace male models of literary creation. Gynocriticism started to emerge at the hands of Ellen Sowalter. Gynocriticism is the study of women as writers, which has four models concerning the nature of women's writing that help answer some of the chief concerns of feminist criticism. The models are: first, biological model, linguistic model, psychoanalytic model, and cultural model. Ellen Sowalter coined the term gynocriticism or gynocritics, process of constructing a female framework for analysis women literature to develop new models based on the study of female experience rather than to adopt male models or male theories. So here he she trying to construct a female framework for analysis of women's literature to develop a new model on the study of female experience. Now see our next question, question number 35. Identify the novel which opens with the following lines: It was the best of times and it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it age of foolishness, it was epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity was the season of light, it was season of darkness, it was the spring of hope and was the winter of despair. And the options are Jane Austen's Emma, Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, and H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. And all you know that the answer will be Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, because it is a very famous quotation. So the Tale of Two Cities, written by Charles Dickens, it was based on French Revolution. It was written in the time of French Revolution, and it is also a historical novel. So let's see the plot. I to brief summary of the plot. So let's see the plot. The action of A Tale of Two Cities takes place over a period of 18 years, beginning in 1775 and ending in 1793. Some of the story take place earlier as told in the flashbacks. It centers around the years leading up to French Revolution and culminate in the Jacobin reign of terror. It tells the story of two men, Charles Darnley and Sidney Carton, who look very alike but are entirely different in character. So here we see that there are two characters: Charles Darnley, who is the protagonist or hero of the novel, and Sidney Carton, who at the end of the novel was executed. So the who are look very alike, and Sidney at the end of the novel was executed. So you have to read the whole novel to understand the whole story. Now let's see the next question, the question number 36. Which of the following terms does not form a part of seven types of ambiguities propounded by William Empson? And the answer will be simulacra, because simulacra was not part of the seven types of ambiguities given by William Emerson. The others are metaphor, pun, simile. So let's see the explanation. Seven types of ambiguities, a study of its effect on English verse. In seven types of ambiguity, Emerson sought to enhance the reader's understanding of a poem by isolating the linguistic properties of text. Here we see that in seven types of ambiguity, Emerson sought to enhance the reader's understanding of a poem. So he tried to enhance the reader's understanding of a poem by isolating the linguistic properties of, of the text. He suggested that the words or references in poems are often ambiguous and, if presented coherently, carry multiple meanings that enrich the reader's appreciation of the work. So there are multiple meanings. There are multiple meanings which the reader can appreciate of the work. So these ambiguities are which he was recognized. These are, he argued that the complexities of cognitive and tonal meanings in poetry uh, form the basic of the reader's emotional response. And these are: first, the metaphor. It asserts the correlation or resemblance between two unrelated things. So what is metaphor? Metaphor is the correlation or resemblance between two unrelated things. Second, ambiguity is where the poet used antithesis. Antithesis means it is used of contrasting concepts, words and sentence with parallel grammatical structure. So it is used in contrasting concept or word or sentence within parallel grammatical structure. And the third, ambiguity occurs when the author is discovering his idea in the act of writing, or not holding it at all in his mind at once. So that for instance, there is a simile which applies to nothing exactly but lies halfway between two things when the author is moving from one to other. So there is simile. The next is number 4, pun. It is a play on words which usually hinges on a word with more than one meaning. So there will be more than one meaning that changes the meaning of the sentence of human and rhetorical effects. So pan is also another, and the other two, there is an example of pan. What do you call someone with no body and nose? Nobody knows. So, what do you call someone with no body and nose? So, the see answer that nobody knows. One armed man clapped the kindness of stranger. So, one armed man clapped the kindness of stranger. It is an example of pun. Mm, so, number 5, two or more meanings that do not agree but combine to make clear a complicated state of mind in the author. So, where two or more meanings do not agree but combine to make clear a complicated state of mind in the author. It occurs when the author is discovering his idea in the act of writing, or not holding it at all in his mind at once. So that, for instance, there is a simile which applies to nothing exactly but lies half away between two things when the author is moving and from one to other. So now see that option number 6. uh, Now see the 6 point. When a statement says nothing and the reader are forced to invent a statement of their own, most likely in conflict with that of the author. So what is the ambiguities? The ambiguities when the reader try to interpret the poem by themselves, and what they apply on the poems. These are the ambiguities. These are the 7 types of ambiguity. So first is the metaphor, then antithesis, then simile, then pun, then the others are these points. So when a statement says nothing and the reader are forced to invent a statement of their own, most likely in conflict with that of the author. And 7 point, two words that within a context are opposite that expose a fundamental divisions in the author's mind. So there are two words with that within context are opposites that expose a fundamental division in the author. So now we see that that's um, the words within the context of opposite that expose the fundamental division in the author's mind. And uh, in that way, William Emerson defined the 7 types of ambiguities. So now see our next question, question number 37. Which of the following poems has been influenced by Hindu philosophy? And our options are Reaper by William Wordsworth, Brahma by Emerson, The Curse of Kehama by Saude, and Kubla Khan by Coleridge. And our answer will be Brahma by Emerson and The Curse of Kehama by Saude. So let's see the explanation. Brahma is a poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson written in 1856. However, the poem was published in November 1857. It is named for Brahma, the universal principle of the Vedas. Brahma is one of the poems composed by Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American transcendentalist of the 19th century. The poem composed in the form of an utterance, a form which comprises sublime and metaphysical content while adding in the balladic quatrain musical pattern. The form, therefore, is the first of its kind, include Oriental poetical material in the Western verse framework. The center speaker of the poem is Brahma himself, who, according to Hindu philosophers of India, is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. The study of the Vedantic philosophy, the Gita, the Katha Upanishad is impressed upon the poem very forcefully. Body is for some certain period of time, but within the body of man there is a soul that is divine spark, eternal and everlasting and never ending. So here we can see that Emerson takes these references from Katha Upanishad, and so it's an example of Hindu philosophy. Now let's see, The Curse of Kehama is an epic poem composed by Robert Southey, and the origin of the poem can be traced to Southey's schoolboy days, when he suffered from insomnia, along with his memories of a dark and mysterious schoolmate that later formed the basic of the poem's villains. The poem was started in 1802 following the publication of Saude's epics Thalaba or the Destroyer. So the poem is divided into 12 books. The first half describes how the evil priest Kehamma is able to gain significant autonomous significant amounts of demonic power in a quest to become a god. So here we see that here also the poem describes the Hindu myth, and it is heavily influenced by Zoroastrian. So here also the poet used the Hindu myth, Hindu philosophy. So now let's see our next question number 38. Which of the following behavior is and are important to Freudian psychoanalysis study of William Shakespeare's Hamlet? And the answer will be changing in emotional states and neurotic behavior. So all of you who read the play Hamlet, you can easily answer that changes in emotional states and neurotic behavior can be studied as a psychoanalytic theory. So now see our next question number 39. Which of the following novel author combination is on are right? So our answer will be a passage to India, a passage to England by Neeraj C. Chaudhary, a passage to India by Foster, and a passage to England by Neeraj C. Chaudhary. The Mayor of Casterbridge is also right. It was written by Thomas Hardy. Where Shall We Go to This Summer was written by Anita Desai, and Pride and Prejudice was written by Jane Austen. So let's see our next question number 40. And this will be our last question for the video. Which of the following is and or correct about phenomenology? So what is phenomenology? And here our answer will be it is a form of methodological idealism seeking to explore an abstraction called human consciousness. So, it is a form of methodological idealism seeking to explore an abstraction called human consciousness. Option number B, it is a philosophical method with Edmund Husserl. And option number C, it believes that the act of thinking and object of thought are internally related, mutually dependent. So it believes that the act of thinking and object of thought are internally related. And the option number D, Heidegger's being and time is an important phenomenological treatise supporting the stand of Husserl. This option is wrong. So now see the explanation. What is phenomenology? Phenomenology is a philosophy or method of inquiry based on the premises that reality consists of objects and events as they are perceived and understood in human consciousness. So we can see the words from the option that phenomenology is a philosophy or method of inquiry based on the premise that reality consists of objects events as they are perceived or understood in human consciousness, not of anything independent of human consciousness, not of anything independent of human consciousness. Phenomenology, uh, Edmund Husserl later redefined the meaning into more and what we use today. Phenomena can be studied only subjectively, not objectively. Thus, phenomenology is a close cousin of existentialism. So, Edmund Husserl refined the meaning of the phenomenology, and he said that phenomena can be studied only in subjectively, not objectively. Thus, phenomenology is a close cousin of existentialism. The characteristics of phenomenology: used of subjective data to describe an objective truth. So here we use a subjective data. Researchers' own experience integrated into the study, researchers' own experience integrated into the study, and focus on finding common thread in phenomena. So it also focused on finding the common thread in phenomena. So this is the end of this video. So if you like my explanation and the question which I discussed, so please like and comment, and don't forget to give your feedback. Thank you.